I'm telling you.
They said President Ruto nominated the DPP, that is Nordin Haji, as the new Director General of NIS, and of course replacing General Kameru. But I say Philip Kameru, you know, he's a trusted man who worked under a former President Uhuru Kenyatta's regime, but is going out 16 months. Is it a case of being fired or not? Remember, by the way, on the DCI guy, Mr. Kinoti, left office. President Ruto said, you see, Kinoti resigned. But a couple of weeks later, the president himself said, I fired him. So when something happens, you're like, did he really resign? You know, was he fired?
There's the headline within the headline,
yes,
isn't it?
Exactly.
It just takes a couple of maybe days or weeks in this government for you know where the truth really is.
Yes.
I'm telling you that.
You'll get one thing today, tomorrow, might get something
completely
else.
Different, isn't it?
Yes.
All right.
So
that's it. Can we look at
we can look at the
there's a story, by the way, that you were following up very, very much when we were breaking it, the Mukumu girls story. So you did a couple of packages on it.
Yes.
Guess what, Keitany? We are not done with it. On page 2 of the Daily Nation, more Mukumu students in a hospital again, Keitany.
I know, Simba. This happened just 2 days after reopening.
How's it?
The government was talking about, and the CS Education, Ezekiel Machogu, and the Ministry of Education at large, were talking about how now everything is safe for students to go back to school. The principal was transferred, food was destroyed, boreholes were shut down, they dug new boreholes. You ask yourself, what is the problem
Why
again?
is the problem? Keitany, this is why I asked the question, should somebody also go home then?
People must be held accountable. Because there must be an underlying problem.
Which you have.
Is it sabotage? Because why specifically Mukumu girls? You know, they say lightning doesn't strike the same place twice.
Twice, it doesn't.
But it is striking the same place twice. It is striking
the same place twice.
Certainly there's something. There's an underlying problem.
There's an underlying problem, isn't it?
And you know, a lot needs to be done. Not just investigations. Proper investigations need to be conducted to ensure that they get to the bottom of the matter. Because right now, if I'm a parent, for example, I'm concerned. If my student goes to that school or any other school, you're concerned, especially Mukumu girls, you're concerned, is my student, is my kid safe? You know, because at the end of the day, as a parent, when you take your kid to school, your biggest, concern is my child safe? And if at all, there are still cases of students being hospitalized after others died.
It's even time for you to start thinking about, can I transfer my kid from that school, Keitany, at this time of the year when they're preparing for the exams? I will tell you that. There's another story that you've got to look at here. Keitany, what type of showers do you have at your apartment or at your home, at your place? Keitany, I've never visited your home, boy.
Why should you visit me?
You've never even invited us for lunch.
You're the same person who always castigates me here when I say I'm not alone.
Allah?
Yes.
Yeah, Keitany, you always tell me lunch today.
Me or you? Money is not a problem. I will buy. It's you, Simba.
Oh, me?
Yes. You can hear the director saying it's you, Simba.
Okay, no, let's not deflect from the point, Keitany.
It's deflecting from the matter.
No, I'm not deflecting from the matter, Keitany. What do you use in your bathroom?
No.
It's a proper question. Politically correct question. I've never been in your bathroom.
It's okay, Simba.
I don't think I'll ever be there.
It's okay, Simba. This is it. You know, I'm a very cautious man. Very cautious man. Let me tell you, I avoided all those hot instant showers. No.
So what do? You take a bath?
No.
Cold showers?
Cold shower. Yes.
Oh yeah?
Yes. Each and every morning.
Mwanaume halisi, talk about blowing your own trumpet. Keitany, are you sure?
Listen.
No, hold on, Keitany. Hold on.
I'm certain.
Are you lying or you're telling the truth?
Let me tell you. Why should I lie?
That's what I'm asking. Why should you lie, Keitany?
I'm not lying.
Why should you lie?
Why should I lie?
You are a cold shower man.
You know, I had someone saying, it's only hot guys who can take cold showers. That's what I had someone saying. So,
hold on, Keitany. You take cold showers and baths?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Where?
Okay, sometimes maybe not because I like it, but because of the dangers.
No. Now you.
What I've read, what has been happening.
How many years has it been since you took cold showers and baths?
4.5.
4.5.
Yes. But even before,
I'm not gonna talk about the skin color. No. See, I've already talked about it.
Listen,
I didn't want to talk about it. Anyway.
So you shouldn't be talking about colors. You're not so far from where I am. Not so far.
Who says that?
Me. Not so far from where I am.
Can't we call it? You can't qualify that as a man. No, you are easy to.
Listen, I can call it. I can call it. Simba, you're my brother. I can call it.
KEITANY, you want to say?
I can call it. I'm your brother. I dare say that.
Talk about KEITANY making this show very uncomfortable every morning.
I don't know. You're just fresh from talking about you or me inviting you to my place. Why should I invite you to my place, Simba? Simba, the other day you were castigating me for saying I'm not alone. Yeah. But if you come to my house, will I be alone? No, not. Please. Please. Can you just pick your poison? Pick your poison, Simba.
We will not be together. In the house, we'll not be together.
Okay, literally in the house, like
wow,
two of us.
We like I visited you.
So yeah, pick your poison. Pick your poison.
Okay. There's a story here. Read that story, by the way, on page 2 of the Daily Nation. And also, one of the conversations that KEITANY is going to get into this morning with our analysts is how now Ruto is facing a lot in his government. He's fighting corruption. He's talking about how county cash crunch, the story that KEITANY has been talking about this morning. It's also talking about inflation, taxation, corruption scandals, state jobs that even the church is blaming you for, the appointment of the 50 CAS, is talking about the debt crisis, and a strike notice by workers, by the way, on the backdrop of the finance bill. Now, there's a story here. You read that story on page 7 and join us shortly as KEITANY then gets into it. Now, on page 10, how much are you buying sugar? 2 kg currently might be going at 413 shillings. And for those of us who don't use sugar, the headline doesn't mean so much to us. KEITANY uses a lot of sugar.
Just so you know, Simba's again fresh from talking about blowing your own trumpet.
Yeah.
Well,
he uses a lot of sugar.
What he's doing.
I don't understand
how do you know I use a lot of sugar?
I don't.
How do you know?
Because we take tea in our office together.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Oh, please. For the record.
How many teaspoonfuls of sugar do you need in your cup?
Just 2.
No, that's a lie.
Simba.
Stop saying 2.
Just 2.
I've seen you actually use 4.
Goodness me.
KEITANY.
It's a typical thing with Arsenal fans. Always talking about things that are not there. Anyway, but 2 is enough. 2 is enough, Simba.
Yeah. Anyway, that and much more coming up this morning by the John KEITANY as it gets into a deeper conversation on the cost of living in the country, the debt crisis, corruption, and now all that now is one of those issues that Ruto has to solve if indeed he's going to live true to his promise for fixing some of the problems of Kenyans. We take a tiny breather. Once we come back, I'll be taking you straight to the newsroom for our news this morning. Welcome back. Now let's begin with Shakahola, where 15 more bodies were on Wednesday exhumed and 1 person rescued from Shakahola forest in the ongoing operation, where the controversial pastor Paul Mackenzie is being accused of running a bloody cult. This now brings the death toll to 227. Coast Regional Commander Rhoda Onyancha said that 1 person was rescued, bringing the number of those rescued so far to 85.
Na ile timu ambayo inahusika kwa kuwatafuta wenzetu pale kichakani imeweza kumwokoa mwanaume mtu mzima akiwa kwa hali mzuri. Ile timu ambayo inahusika kwa mambo ya kufukua mili imeweza kufukua mili 15, na pia ile timu yetu ya kutafuta watu pale kichakani imeweza kupata mwili moja. Kwa hivyo leo tuko na mili 16. Wale ambao tumeweza kuwakamata bado wanabaki 31, na kuna mtu mmoja leo amekuja kwa center na kusema kwamba anatafuta familia yake. Kwa hivyo wale ambao wameweza kufika kwa center yetu na kuripoti ama kupeana ripoti kwamba wanatafuta wenzao, wameweza kufika 611.
Moving on, at least 173,127 students who sat for their Form 4 examinations last year can now select their courses and their institutions of choice in the Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service portal after Educational CS Ezekiel Machogu launched the exercise yesterday. As KEITANY now files, the placement exercise kicks off barely 2 weeks after President William Ruto launched a new funding model for universities.
Patience is the road to wisdom. After a long wait, students who sat for their national examinations last year will kickstart their bid to further their studies to universities and various TVETs across the country after the placement portal was opened today. Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu today launched the exercise with over 173,000 students expected to join various universities through the placement process, expected to be done across all Huduma centers in the country. The exercise kicks off barely 2 weeks after President William Ruto launched the new university funding model that will aid different students according to the degree of their needs. The plan set to kick off in September.
The new model of funding higher education to be implemented effective this academic year 2023-2024 will commence with a new cohort of 173,127 students joining universities and 145,325 students joining TVETs. All continuing government-sponsored students shall be supported in line with the previous existing funding model.
According to the categories, the extremely needy students and those from vulnerable families will all get full sponsorship from the government to further their studies. The needy students will get 53% scholarship and a 40% grant from the government. For university students, with those going to TVETs getting a 50% scholarship and a 30% grant. The less needy students joining universities will get 38% scholarship and a 55% grant, with those joining TVETs getting a 32% scholarship and a 48% grant. Public universities across the country have debts accruing to billions of shillings, with President Ruto insisting the new model will awaken university managements.
With the new funding model, universities and TVETs will be motivated to raise additional resources and to enhance the quality of education so as to attract more students.
Despite the new model, public universities will get an additional 30 billion in funding.
In the financial year 2022-2023, Kenya shillings 54 billion was allocated to university education, both as grant and as loans. In the next financial year, under the new model, we are increasing the budgetary allocation from 54 billion to 84.6 billion, an extra 30.6 billion. This is an increase of 56% and translates to an increase of funding per student from 152,000 to Kenya shillings 208,000.
KEITANY, Lookuptv.
Lawyer Duncan Okach, who is representing DJ Fatso's Duncan Okach, has alleged that the Office of the Director of a Public Prosecution has found no evidence to suggest that the DJ is culpable of the death of Jeff Mwadhi. Through a press statement, the lawyer further revealed that the matter is to be pursued further as an inquest.
In a surprising turn of events, DJ Fatso, renowned for his chart-topping banger hits, has been found not culpable in the unfortunate death of Jeff Mwadhi. Through a press statement by his lawyer, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution found no evidence linking the DJ to the murder.
Cooperation from our client, because he has always maintained from the word go that he's very innocent, he has nothing to hide, and he's like an open book. To that extent, he allowed full access to his phone, to his communication, to his email addresses, to his house. He even subjected himself for all tests, including DNA samples, which were taken. Pursuant to the extensive investigations, the Directorate of Criminal Investigation came up with findings and forwarded that file to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. The essence of these findings from the DCI was that they did not find an iota of culpability. They did not find even one aspect that links our client to the said death, or that purports to say that our client has any grey area.
Jeff Mwadhi is said to have jumped to his death on the February 22nd while at the Mugithi Stars apartment that led to a highly publicized and controversial investigation that saw DJ Fatso face a relentless storm of speculation and scrutiny. The family of Jeff Mwadhi have maintained that their son was murdered and did not commit suicide, as various reports claimed. David Alex, Lookuptv.
Day extension of the orders declaring 6 counties in the North Rift as a precarious and dangerous. Kindiki said the dreaded criminals are still holed up at Mukogodo forest, saying the government is keen on flashing out the criminals who have terrorized the local since time immemorial.
Nimekuwa hapa Laikipia siku ya leo kwa sababu nilikuwa nataka kuona mahali tumefika na hii operation yetu, operation Maliza Uhalifu, ambayo inaendelea katika kaunti 6 ikiwemo hii kaunti ya Laikipia. Vile vile nimeenda kushukuru wale maafisa wetu wa kambi yetu ya Naibor kwa sababu wameweza kuokoa ng'ombe 75 ambao walikuwa wamechukuliwa na majangili, na nimewashukuru kwa niaba ya serikali ya Kenya, kwa niaba ya rais na kwa niaba ya sisi zote. Tumesema asante, na hii ndio maneno tunataka kusikia kwenda mbele. Ng'ombe zikiibiwa zinapatikana, mkora akifanya jambo tunamshughulikia mara moja. Nimetoa amri ya kwamba vile tumekoroga msitu kule Baringo ya Korkron na Tandare, lazima pia tukoroge Mkogodo hapa. Wale wakora wachache wanajificha hapo, siku zao zimehesabiwa. Tutawafurusha pale, na huo msitu tutaufunga. Ni msitu wa serikali, tutaufunga. Hakuna mtu ambaye anaruhusiwa kuwa pale, kwa sababu tumeweka katika gazeti la kitaifa ya kwamba ile ni mahali pa uhalifu na watu watoke pale. And we are not kidding. Sio ati ni mchezo. Hii matangazo hatufanyi matangazo ya bure. Kwa hivyo watoke pale, wasipotoka ni sawa, tutawatoa kwa njia moja ama ingine. Tutatumia mbinu zote, kwa sababu katika taifa letu hatuwezi kukubali wakora wachache kuumiza wananchi, kuchukua mali yao na kuwaua kiholela. Na vile vile tumesema ya kwamba maafisa wetu wa NPRs, Police Reservice, wote tutawapatia bima ya afya ya NHIF ili wakiumia wakiwa kazini waweze pata matibabu. Vile vile tutaangalia marupurupu yao kidogo na sare ya kazi.
The Law Society of Kenya, LSK, has launched a crackdown against fake lawyers in the country. Speaking during a press conference in Nairobi led by LSK President Eric Theuri, the Law Society stated that they have already arrested 3 of them and taken them to a police station for more action. LSK has however posed some proposals in the 2023-2024 financial year budget.
While addressing the press conference at the Supreme Court buildings on Wednesday,
to announce to you the launch of an countrywide crackdown on masqueraders and quacks.
Law practitioners under the Law Society of Kenya, LSK, declared a crackdown against fake lawyers who engaged in law practices without the necessary requirements.
Out there masquerading as advocates and offering legal services to unsuspecting members of the public.
Led by the LSK President Eric Theuri, that they have already arrested 3 suspects in connection to the act, stating that the crackdown will continue countrywide in order to flush out quacks.
We have taken the opportunity to raid down a few offices which we had received complaints from members of the public as well as members of our society, and we have nabbed a few. We have taken them to the police station where we shall open proceedings against them. Let this be a warning to anyone out there, anyone who does not hold a practicing certificate, that members have complained and we are not ready to share our bread and butter with people who don't have licenses to practice as advocates.
The society has cautioned law students and other law practitioners against representing their clients in court.
We have done a letter to Cliff Umbeta for practicing without a practice certificate. We are waiting for him to respond to that letter, and after the response of that letter, the appropriate action will be taken. As you are aware, he paid for his practicing certificate letter while he had been appearing in court prior to having a practicing certificate. So that is an issue that we are handling.
We have seen around the country so many people have been arrested, and therefore we are sending a very stern warning to anyone out there that henceforth we are taking all the relevant measures to ensure that the legal practice in Kenya is protected.
LSK has also opposed some proposals in the 2023-2024 financial year budget, stating that they are harmful to Kenyans.
Yes, the Law Society is preparing a memorandum in response to the proposals that are contained in the finance bill. There are some proposals which we think are extremely harmful. There are some proposals which we think go against the law and even previous decisions by the courts. So we will be making a memorandum, or rather submitting a memorandum to Parliament. We hope that Parliament will consider our memorandum and do the right thing.
Shadrack Kareria, Lookuptv.
It is now clear the bipartisan talks will adopt a hybrid approach to negotiations aimed at addressing issues of concern tabled by the government and the opposition teams. Speaking after a lengthy consultation session at Bomas of Kenya, the team says the discussions will heavily tap into the support of the parliament on funding, while also inviting experts to provide directions on contentious issues. With the reconstitution of IEBC a concern that cuts across the two sides, the team has formed a subcommittee consisting of 6 members to spearhead discussions from Tuesday next week when the talks resume.
Okay.
At least 70% of Kenyans across 25 counties perceive the health sector to be corrupt in its service delivery. This is according to a new survey released by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission that shows corruption is one of the top 3 concerns in the country after unemployment and poverty. Cabinet Secretary Susan Nyakumincha says her ministry has already begun implementing reforms to better serve Kenyans in the sector.
The EACC survey featured public health facilities employees in project implementation, procurement and financial experts, contractors involved in project implementation, and the general public. Across 25 counties, Kenyans expressed their deepest concerns to be unemployment, followed by poverty and corruption. The survey shows that of the various functions of the Ministry of Health, a Kenyan was likely to encounter corruption at 3 levels. the tendering stage with favorism standing at 41.4%, project implementation with a bribery rate of 30.6%, payment of substandard works at project closure 32.2%. The Ministry of Health continues to attract negative perception with financial management procedures recording a high percentage of unethical conduct. 33.1% of the respondents is the corruption threshold when health officers are estimating the cost of projects. The verification process, malpractices stands at 17.8% and adherence to the laws and regulations a paltry 13.6%. And of the counties that actively engage the public in the implementation of healthcare projects, Makueni County recorded a 93.6% success rate. Kisumu County coming in second with 83.3%, Migori County recording 81.3% success. Just 3 days after the Ministry of Health was thrown into the limelight over the KEMSA purge, Cabinet Secretary Susan Nahumicha now says she has already begun cleaning house.
So internally, we have made the suspension based on their involvement at that level. However, I personally wrote to EACC and they have come to do a thorough investigation. Should they find that my name is anywhere or I have been involved in any way, I believe your question then will come in handy in terms of knowing what I will do.
The EACC today has made recommendations to both the county and national government to come up with measures to curb corruption in government offices. And could the perception by Kenyans on the Ministry of Health improve in coming days following the President's broom sweeping across the Ministry of Health? Audrey.
A story there by Audrey Cherotich then marks the end of our morning drift news this morning. But much of those stories, by the way, especially on the cost of living and some of those challenges that the president has to pass through then to alleviate some of those issues, especially that have been highlighted in the finance bill of 2023 that is going to guide the budget 2023-2024 are going to form the back end of a conversation that Ian KEITANY is going to get into shortly after this tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Guess what? You can actually be part and parcel of a conversation this morning online at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. I am at KEITANY SIMBA. The hashtag is the Morning Drift. Good morning.